prequels. 4, 3, 2, 1. Clap. I was a little bit slower than it needed to be, but I was trying to be.
Your countdown is like agonizingly slow.
Well, that was slower that time.
Yeah, that one was really.
But it's like, oh, I'm a shitty drummer already, but
Right.
like I can't, I gotta
5.
keep time. I started.
4.
Because they might clap too early or too late. I gotta keep
Right,
it
we're
consistent.
trying to clap on your rhythm, and it's not.
It was very difficult to keep up, and I don't have much rhythm to begin with, so
It's difficult to keep down in that case.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Hey.
Ew. What's the name of this thing again?
Can't Picardly wait.
This is Star Trek Resignation presents Under the Bridge.
A lower
It's not
Decks
presents.
podcast.
Oh right, no presents. We put the kibosh on presents.
We did. Or Benny did, or
Someone.
I think Benny did.
We spent a lot of time debating these fucking
We can't
titles.
listen. I can't. If you talk about the title for one more second, and I'm just going to bed.
Oh, I thought this was all preamble.
I can't engage. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean it is. I just
Hey,
don't want
this is this podcast that you were asking for, right, people? It's Under the Bridge. I'm Wade Bowen, and with me is Sean Parada.
Yo, what's up? Under the bridge.
And then Glenn Hall over there.
Hello.
Y'all are all like, hey, you gonna talk about that Lower Deck show? And I'm like, okay, here it is, several weeks late.
Several weeks late. That's how we do. We had to digest. There's a lot of these are meaty episodes. We really had to take it all in.
Mm-hmm. I had to sit and think about it because
I spent a not insignificant amount of time trying to figure out one voice in, I think it's next week's episode, so I won't talk about it yet. But there are a lot of, I know that voice that like I spend a lot of time trying to figure out.
It took you that long to figure out that was Paul Scheer this episode?
It's not too tough, Glenn.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. This was what? Oh, this was episode 2. It's called Envoys, right?
Yes.
Envoys.
I'm going to try to keep it a little bit more structured than last time. 'Cause
I don't know what you're talking about.
I took notes this time.
Ooh.
Well, if you'd listened to the ROA, Glenn, you'd know that I take very meticulous fucking notes.
I've listened to an episode of ROA.
Yeah, fuck. Oh, God.
Yeah, and found it insufferable, so we stopped.
Well, then we haven't even begun insufferable. If you listen to one episode, that was before I was taking meticulous notes, when we were just riffing and having fun. Before I sucked all the joy out of it by telling James and Hugh they're fucking assholes. No, they sucked the joy out of it. I will never.
Well, yeah, because they're fucking assholes.
It's like, no, it's funny. Well, I bet a lot of you that are listening to this have already listened to that.
Yeah, there's
You
a lot of
haven't.
crossover.
Well, go listen to that, and it's a whole different kind of dynamic of us yelling at each other than we got here. Here it's just me and Sean yelling at Glenn.
Yes.
That's how we do it.
20 minutes worth last season at least.
Okay, so this episode, Envoys, what happened in it? I'm not asking you, Glenn.
I know.
Sean this time.
The tone, I was like, yeah, of course you're not asking me.
Just to change it up, you know?
The guy gets to drive a Klingon to a planet to sign a treaty. And the girl's like, I'm going to do it better than you. And he's like, all right. And so they go down and the Klingon gets all drunk and steals their ship. So then they have to go through, and he discovers that she's better than him at stuff because she just has like world experience and he just read a bunch of books. And that's basically it.
Good job.
He missed things.
I didn't miss
It's
anything.
called a summary, Glenn. He did miss the entire B plot.
I missed the
Points
entire
on
B-plot.
off for that.
The B plot where Eugene Cordero decides he doesn't want to be an engineer because he's into the new medical chick and he wants to watch space with her.
Uh-huh.
So he goes and tries out all the different jobs on the ship.
All right. What a succinct and, Glenn, I will admit, there are details that are missing, but that's because...
And we'll get into the details through conversation.
Yeah, that's what you watch the show for.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Well, Sean, what was the cold open?
Couldn't care less.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Couldn't tell you. Don't remember. Oh, they get the sphere, the glowing ball.
The transdimensional energy creature.
Yeah.
Very TOS villain.
Well, that's not relevant to the summary, so I didn't include it in the summary, and that's a detail that we'll get into now.
Or
It's
is it?
TNG, too.
Because this is one of the things I took a note about.
No.
Okay. Give me your note.
Well, so you have this whole sequence at the beginning with the little orb and all the hijinks there.
Just a throwaway.
And that scene ends with
Yep,
the
just a
orb
throwaway.
going into the captain or
Yeah,
getting
just a throwaway.
squished. It wasn't.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
so small that it just went away. It's just a
Right,
throwaway.
right. Like I watched it the first time and I was like, "Oh, I know this is an episodic show, but are they introducing a detail here that is
No.
going to get picked up later because it possesses the captain?" And
No.
I was like, "Oh, maybe." I was like, and then I watched it the second time. Oh no, it just goes in there and it gets squished and dies. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's just a throwaway.
I think it's likelier that it's a throwaway joke, but
Yep.
I also would not be surprised because like
Nope.
Oh, I would be down. Like at first, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Like I'm down for because that's what episodic series do. Is
Yeah.
like they have details and then they get pulled back later, and then later on you're still episodic, but those details compile enough, and then you
Right.
have a big reveal, and then you have a big bad or something at the end or whatever. But that's not what's happening here. Part of me was like, I was actually, it would be nice if maybe at the end of the 4 screener episodes that all the critics watched and were like, maybe they're building to something that's gonna switch. So like, no, it's not.
It could happen. It was her mom, like the captain. So like if that's a relevant character for something to happen to. So sure,
Right.
But
and
it's not. It's just a throwaway.
Not, no. I was a little bit general impressions of this episode. I liked it a lot, but then it's starting to creep in things of the complaints. Like I was so over the moon for the first episode because I was just like had such a great time. And this one I enjoyed a lot, and I will talk about a lot of the little nerd corner Star Trek details of why for a Star Trek show it worked for me. But then there were also other details of the to make a reference Rick and Morty-ish kind of it, to where it's like I get that reference, but I don't know if it's the right thing for this story or the right thing to just other than just say, hey, I recognize that. So there's a little bit of that creeping in to the show, but
there were a lot of references in this episode, way more than the premiere.
Counter argument: there were 0 references in this episode. It all depends on your perspective.
Right. Oh, I didn't think that there were more than there were in the first episode because that was chock full of them, or none at all, depending on if you're a wave or a particle in
None at
quantum
all.
physics or something. But the ones that there were a few that snuck in that was just like, okay, I see what you're doing. You're just kind of being cute, and I don't like cute things. I love references because I'm a dork and I like Star Trek, so I'm an asshole who loves. Oh, I know that thing because
It's again the Leo meme.
Right, but I don't like totally being cute about it. Like even in the cold open when the captain was walking by and she's just offhanded talking, it's like, I need something really cool to say when we're going to warp. It's like, I get it. Okay,
Right.
yes. And it's one thing for a captain to want to have that, but it's just like, okay, you're saying the joke out loud, not like a person would talk, but just to say, hey, I'm making a reference, audience. You get it? And it's like, I don't really want that. Like if you work it into a character, I'd say the B plot does. I'm like, oh, that's great. I love it. But then sometimes it's just like, hey, I know this Star Trek thing and I'm just going to throw it out there as a reference for the nerds and it's not wrapped up in character. It kind of annoys me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's when you break the fourth wall too much, especially in a show like this that is, it seems like it's priding itself on like, oh, this is all canon. This takes place in like the, Star Trek universe that we all know and love, except for Sean. And it's weird to see, like you said, Wade, that kind of Rick and Morty, though full disclosure, I've only seen one episode of Rick and Morty style explicit references and all that stuff. It's a strange line that they have to walk. And this is actually something you and I spoke about in person this past weekend because Wade and I saw each other in real life.
You guys broke quarantine.
No, we were socially distanced.
We were socially distanced, but over the weekend, I was talking to Wade about this, and I said, and part of this is because I don't really have much of a dog in the Rick and Morty race. I don't know much about it, and I'll watch it someday. But...
I mean, Rick and Morty's good. The third season that Mike McCahan, the showrunner for this, the latest fourth season, we had a whole bonus or discussion or on the Patreon about it. Like, it's not that good, but
It's not as good.
it's
He wanted it to like last forever. He's like, I built a show that could last forever. And it's like, oh, no, you didn't.
yeah, right. But now we have a 76 episode contract we gotta fulfill. So
Right.
let Mike be the showrunner. Yeah, but that's a whole other thing. That's not this show. I
Anyway.
think this show is better suited to Mike McCann, I think, than
Yeah.
Rick and Morty.
Well, and so the thing you and I spoke about was how, in my opinion at least, this is just my take on it, is that the kind of Rick and Morty aesthetic and vibe it's working so far on the show. Like, I don't really have huge complaints besides what we already talked about with sort of like the close to breaking the fourth wall referencey stuff. But
Right.
I brought up a show that I thought would have been a better template for them to, if they had
Just going back, that now that you're saying, when we had this discussion over the weekend, I didn't know you'd only seen one episode of Rick and Morty, so I'm gonna say you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, this sounds like stolen
Sorry,
valor.
So wait a minute, you don't know that that's ever.
I've never harassed a McDonald's employee about Szechuan sauce. That is correct.
That's the fans. I mean, Rick and Morty is a good show, and
Yeah,
the
I've
fans
seen
are
every
toxic.
episode of Rick and Morty, Glenn. I don't appreciate you suggesting that I have to be some kind of
It was a
harassing
joke.
incel to enjoy it.
I didn't say any such thing, but
I read between the lines, Glenn. I'm
But-
shocked.
so I was saying there was a show that I thought would have been a better template for them to kind of draw from if they needed to kind of, because again, this show has like really gone all in on like mimicking the Rick and Morty aesthetic in particular.
But you don't know that. Sorry.
I've seen
Right, Glenn. Yeah, Glenn, you done?
I've seen an episode of the fucking show and I'm aware of what the animation looks
The
like.
character models are very Rick and Morty. All right. Sorry.
what-
So tell us about how
Just say
the
the show.
I
What
was
show?
gonna- oh my god! Oh Jesus Christ!
Venture Brothers. That's the show.
It
I'm
was
gonna.
Venture
Oh, I
Bros.
just
Yes,
jumped
was-
on your
I was-
dick. I'm sorry.
Before I was interrupted 40 fucking times, I was trying to say the goddamn Venture Brothers would have been a great template for them to draw from because it's zany. It deals with like a lot of genre stuff, obviously, but like the style is just ever so closer to. It's less self-referential a lot of the time, and I feel like the vibe and aesthetic would have really fit a comedy Star Trek show.
Uh-huh.
But obviously that's
I mean, I get what you're saying now. But now that I know you only watch one episode of Rick, it's not that show's self-referential. It gets metatextual about everything to its head up its ass degree. But it's not just like, hey, remember this reference.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of animation these days is too clean. Like the actual like animation style. It is. I don't know.
because it's all done with computers now, because they can knock them out.
Right. Yeah, but it sucks. Like it's all like obviously it's visually like it looks good, but like it is. I don't know. You think about like older stuff, and it does feel like sort of sanitized. It feels like really
A little
sorta-
bit. There's been there's older stuff, and then there's like 70s, 80s, which was shittier than this.
Well, yes, yeah.
But yeah, with the kind of Flash animation, not that anybody uses Flash, they don't as much anymore. But
No, I mean, holy shit.
except for the people that made the Black Adam trailer from DC Fandom. I'm not talking about it beyond that. Don't yell at me, please.
I
You
didn't
gotta,
watch it.
Yeah, oh boy.
But the trailer looked like it was made with Flash.
Well, that's a different character.
Fuck off, Sean. Just fuck off.
It's a different character. It's the Flash.
I
You
get
said
it.
Flash. We're talking about DC, and you said Flash.
I know. I'm joking.
What am I supposed
I'm not
to do?
actually saying fuck you. That was a solid joke, Sean.
Is the white guy? His name is Jack Quaid. Is he a Quaid?
Yeah, he's Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son.
He is. Okay.
Well,
Oh, the Boimler on the show?
Yeah.
Boimler is Jack Quaid and Meg Ryan's son, and Randy Quaid's
That's a
nephew.
brutal name.
Yeah, Boimler. Yeah.
Boimler.
Tell us about how CalArts animation is ruining everything. Sorry, no, that's
That went clean over my head.
that's something all the YouTuber toxic bros want to complain about, ruining the animation. People
Sure.
that hate the She-Ra cartoon because they're pricks.
Oh.
I don't know.
That cartoon's good.
I've heard good
I
things
hear
about
it,
it.
but no, there's
I watched a
Yeah, it's good.
I watched
There's a whole. Sorry, I even brought it up. There's a whole wave of like Snyder Cut YouTubers
No,
that like
Right.
also that are mad at the CalArts animation style making cartoons for girls out of
Right.
He-Man and She-Ra cartoons that like were always for girls. So fuck those guys.
Right.
Yeah, but I guess the Rick and Morty style is the new style of that. But those guys don't complain about it because they're bros and it's.
Are we talking about Star Trek?
Oh wait, yeah, sorry. That's my fault. And I
I
apologize.
think it's all of our faults at some point. So that's fine.
I was just saying, part of me wishes that the animation style was different, but that's okay.
So what do you guys, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of like the planet faring adventure? Like how does that like we this is what we talked about this a lot last season. Like we like the idea of a Star Trek that goes to a planet, they go on the planet, they have an adventure, there's a B plot on the ship, Boom, we're good. This is Star Trek.
Yeah.
So what did you guys like the beats of the planet adventure?
I did. It did everything right
Yeah.
as far as like the lore of, like the Klingon like to get drunk and fuck around, and he's the straight laced guy, and she's like throwing knives at him because Klingons like to fight. And he's like, it all worked. Like Mariners, she has some sort of past where she wasn't always an ensign, I guess, because she got demoted.
That is
her
absolutely
mom.
what they are hinting at.
Yeah, well,
No, I think they even said it. I think it's been
No,
stated.
they said
like,
it. Yeah, on the dad's ship, like her father's ship was a ship that seems like it made first contact instead of second contact.
And she says, she knows Corinne through like she did some gray ops missions with him. So like, I don't know.
Section 31 is full on like black ops, like that.
Black
that
ops.
she wasn't intimating that she worked at Section 31.
No,
right?
but I guess gray ops would. Maybe some nerds on the internet or they're listening to this can tell me if there's gray ops that have been detailed in Star Trek before. The sort of morally dubious, so it's closer to Section 31, I guess. And then they make a Section 31 reference later when Boimler is like speed walking and she's like, "You look like a dork," and he says, "Section 31 does it." And that was another one of those like, oh, I get the reference, but it's like, I don't know if it makes sense for the story because...
do they speed walk?
Well, whether they speed walk or not, they probably do, but I don't know whether they do or not.
Sure.
Sorry, Sean. Once you get to the end of DS9, you'll know what I'm talking about, Glenn.
I'm working on it.
Sorry. People aren't supposed to know about Section 31. Right. It's not common knowledge. It's like a hidden thing that is never acknowledged that's been part of Starfleet since the beginning, but that nobody knows about and is disavowed.
Right.
And the fact that he just like, Section 31 does it is shitty, but it's also in line with Kurtzman's the new Star Trek, especially like Discovery, where they're like, it's a thing that everybody knows about. That was a whole other nerd corner that's like, what the fuck? Section 31 is supposed to be... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we have two, I believe, because Kurtzman produced the Kelvin movies, right?
He worked on those, yeah.
So we have two Kurtzman-related instances of him sort of bringing Section 31 into a, if nothing else, incompetent at hiding themselves light, because you obviously have, I can't even remember what the fucking guy's name was in Discovery, the guy that got controlled and we thought was going to be a
Clem Fandango.
No, not Clem Fandango.
I'm going to start... Wait a minute. I'm going to start calling you Glenn Fandango.
Hey, there you go.
Hey.
Holy shit. Hey. If we do Discovery again, that's going to be what I start calling it.
Fuck you,
man. I actually... I've watched a little bit of Toast of London now, so I now understand that reference, and I'm totally fine with that. Like, yes, I can hear you, Glenn Fandango.
Discovery.
All right. But, sorry, what you were saying before.
I was going to say, so you have the bullshit in Discovery... But also in Star Trek Into Darkness, you have Peter Weller, Marcus's dad, turning it into some truther bullshit.
Yeah, Section 31's the whole thing, and yeah.
So I am actually genuinely very interested to see how they're portrayed in DS9, because that seems like the quote-unquote definitive portrayal, as opposed to the other portrayals I've actually seen, which don't seem
Well, it's where it was created.
DS9 details the creation of Section 31.
Yeah, it didn't exist before they made it up in Season 6 of DS9 or whatever.
Well, but do you mean, like, it had never, like, they created the concept, or, like, the actual organization in universe?
Yeah, I'm not talking about canon shit. I don't care about that. The writers made up Section 31.
Well, I know that.
In DS9. It did, and yes. Oh, I didn't know you don't know that. You didn't watch them yet. So
you're not acting like you know that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound...
I haven't watched it, but I am aware from what I have read about Section 31 since we watched Discovery, because...
I don't know what you've read, man. How am I supposed to know what you read?
What are you reading? We're watching Star Trek. What are you reading? Are you reading fucking canon like novels? You're reading fucking Star Trek like stories?
I have skimmed Wikipedias about Star Trek.
Wikipedia. Yeah, so have I, sir.
There's a project I want to tell you guys about after we are done recording that I scanned. I think Memory Alpha is the official, or the quote-unquote official like Star Trek wiki, right? Yeah, so the episode worked. I think the episode was fun. You had a solid A plot, solid B plot. I really liked the B plot in particular. I loved seeing just their like jokes about every sector of working on a starship.
Yeah, seeing ship stuff was fun.
Yeah, the B plot is what also kind of like what the show gets right about Star Trek ideals and the world of the Federation. The B plot, the things that they just seem like dumb comedy and like and they are like where he's going through every job and then he's like I don't want to do this anymore and you think and then the commander is like what the fuck and then they're like you know what do what you want this is where which again it's like a flip you think oh they should be mad at him but that's kind of what Star Trek is all supposed to be all about to where everybody gets to do what they want to do. No one works because they have to work. They work because they love it. And so if a person says, I don't love this anymore, I'd rather be over here, they're like, that's great for you. Nobody gets mad about that shit because they're evolved humans and everything. And they're like, oh, you know what? If that's what makes you happy, you go on and follow your bliss. And everybody's on board with it instead of being like, oh, we thought you were a part of us and fuck you for leaving. They're like, hey, and it's a comedic kind of twist because you think they're going to be mad at them and they're not, but also it lines up with what Star Trek is supposed to be all about. So it was like that was what I liked about the B plot that was really kind of sold that kind of
yeah, for sure.
When I say the show kind of gets Star Trek in ways, it does in ways like that. But if it's not the adventure genre, if it's not the exact genre that people want and they get mad about that, it's like fine, but I don't really give a shit about that. But the idea things behind it, I'm happy that it seems to understand that.
I also particularly liked the fight scene with the holodeck Borgs. He was Upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
right.
Upgrade. Oh yeah. Or the Matrix. I know Kung Fu.
Right.
But more, I guess Upgrade too. I haven't seen that movie.
The part where he like.
Well, or the the what's their names from Picard, the twins. He got activated.
Oh right.
Oh right. Yeah. So yeah, but I don't have much more to say about the B plot other than I liked all the stuff that kind of did. And it was fun.
It was good. Do you think that's like they're setting up a romance there, or are they just buds?
I guess so. It seemed kind of like a quick switch from episode 1 to where he's into her now instead of like
right.
Right. Considering his B plot in episode 1 is that he goes on a date,
right?
And now it's like oh we're doing this thing, okay,
right. And then at the end of episode 1, it's like they sync up, but it doesn't seem like either one's aware of it because they're kind of oblivious, kind of
right because they're excited about the elevator,
right? But then by this one, he's immediately obviously into her,
right? But even then, I like the moment at the end where like she's looking at space. Isn't amazing? And like in a lot of things, like he'd look at her and say, yeah, it is like that's the trope. But he's looking at the whatever the machine thing. And it is like that's a nice little turn that trope on its head.
Yeah, the A plot was just and then it was so full of references or not at all.
So what? So they were like, I don't know. I guess I'm not used to like Star Trek planets that have lots of races on them.
Well, that was a nice touch that there's all these districts.
Like,
like this is where the Vulcan. There wasn't a Vulcan. Andorians and Klingon, the Klingon district.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think they called it like Little Kronos.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't catch that.
I don't know when I've seen that, except you know what? I saw that maybe the only time I can think of was in Discovery.
The Klingon planet.
At the end of season 1, the Klingon planet has whatever the green skinned people are.
Orion.
Orion district. Where all the thieves live. Yeah, which is what the medical
Tendy's in Orion.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, the green skin. Yeah.
Well, I don't know anyone's name on this show.
Yeah, right. Eugene Cordero. Oh yeah, that's the actor's name. Not.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep calling him Eugene Cordero.
Yeah,
I don't have anything else.
Rutherford. So Eugene Cordero is Rutherford.
Yeah.
Tendy's the Orion. She's voiced by Noah Wells.
This is helpful for the audience, but none of it's gonna get into my head. I know Mariner and Boromir.
Very close, Sean, but Boimler.
Yes, Glenn, I know it's not Boromir.
I know you know.
I'm giving you Lord of the Rings stuff.
I know, and look at me resisting.
Boromir.
Yeah.
And that all Klingon names have apostrophes. Making fun of the formal dress. You getting married after this? I don't know what to do other than make.
It's kind of a mush. It's kind of like a fun mush, that A plot. It's just like an alien. It's a fun, and here's a fun that alien. And here's a fun that alien. And who cares?
And then at the end, they go through all the aliens. They have the Orion, the Andorian bar fight, the shapeshifter, which is probably from something I don't recognize, or not. Oh, he does. Oh, and the Borg fight. Well, that's he does like a little eye grab at the end where he pulls out the eye of one of the Borgs in the B plot. It looked a lot like the fight in Roadhouse where he rips out the guy's throat.
It was sort of like the same motion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun little visual detail.
Oh, but then at the end, it brings up where he's like, I suck at this. I'm just going to quit. I'm going to go
Right.
to an asteroid and be a scientist. And she's like, no, don't say that, which is a kind of a meta joke because on Star Trek, they always show up at an asteroid where everybody's been murdered by some science accident.
I wrote that down, the video log thing. It was like, it's like the last thing I'll do is make a video log right before my...
Right, which is a reference, but, that was in service of the humor. That one didn't bother me because it's like,
That's funny.
Fine.
And I understood where that was coming from. Like, I was like, okay, yeah.
That's
I get
no
that.
fewer than 25 episodes of TOS alone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then the Ferengi, the shifty Ferengi, that's like a lot of people hate the Ferengi for being anti-Semitic caricatures.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And then it kind of, which I totally get, but then also the Ferengi I like. And to an extent, but whatever. Armin Shimmerman is great. That's why the Ferengi are great. But I did like that she has this friend of hers pose as the shifty Ferengi, and then he's like, and then it shows that Starfleet is racist. And you know what? If you watch enough Star Trek, they kind of are. Like, Sisko's kind of racist against Ferengis in DS9 even, and they're like, and the kind of flipping that, and her like, he's not. He's a very cultured guy, and he's like, I'm taking the kids. We're going to Ryza for vacation, which Sean, Ryza is a sex planet where everybody goes on vacation.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Jamaharan, which is what the alien that's gonna seduce and plant eggs and
I
Boimler's.
believe she was a Vendorian.
A Vendorian?
That's
okay.
I think that's what they called her in the episode. It was either that or...
Okay.
I wrote down Anabaj. I can't remember what that was.
Anavaj. That was what she was.
She was an Anabaj,
and
okay.
Andorians are the aliens with the antennas.
She mentioned Vendorians, or at least the subtitles called it Vendorians in some other context then. I don't know what that was.
Okay.
Because I know what Andorians are, Wade.
Oh, yeah. I thought you watched TOS.
Yeah. They're all over the place.
But they're not in TNG. But
they are in Discovery, though.
You were gonna tell me a sex thing.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Jamaharan is like, I think in TNG, as far as I know, it's like, we can't say sex to get past the censor. So it's like, it's just here's a little tiki idol. It means you want to fuck.
Right. That's fun. Yeah. Great.
And he wants Jamaharan. Yeah, that's what that is.
Right. It just means fucking.
Yeah. I mean, so there's something with a tiki idol, I guess. But
really paints the Brady Bunch in a different light.
Yeah, right. But then the Ferengi showing Starfleet's kind of racist, but it kind of circumvents the Star Trek trope of every alien is only one type of person.
Right.
Like, okay, so that's nice too.
Yeah.
So I liked what this episode did in a lot of ways. A couple of the little nitpicky things that are like, I don't know.
The nitpicky stuff is harder to kind of dwell on, especially considering this is like a 22-minute animated show.
Right.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. It was like a fun, adventure of the week. I think the supporting cast is fantastic. I kind of hope this doesn't seem likely, but like I would love to see at least one of these characters appear live action style, and it's hard to imagine that happening with anyone except Eugene Cordero, because he's the only... I guess he and Tawny Newsome are the ones who like most closely resemble the characters they're actually playing.
Oh yeah,
I get that. Yeah, but
it's I don't think that'll ever happen. But it would be fun if it did. It's just
I'm pushing my glasses up, but it's set in a different timeline than all the other shows.
Yeah, but Discovery season 3 is fucking around with time travel.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
Does anyone care about CBS's Star Trek universe enough for them to do a crossover?
I mean, I imagine they got to do something like that at some point, just to
a crossover with what?
Their own properties.
Like, yeah.
I mean, they would love to be popular enough to where fans are clamoring for a crossover.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't think anyone is.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And I think Glenn's like asking out of curiosity. Like I think it would be cool.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, they have to set two shows in the same to where it makes sense.
Right.
at this point, which.
But then that creates its own
Yeah.
issues. It's easier to satisfy the nerds by setting them in just like, here's this period of time you know nothing about. That's when this happens. Suck it.
See, you know what? I'll forgive you, Sean, because you don't give a shit about Star Trek.
Couldn't care less.
There is no satisfying the nerds. They
That's
fucking
fair
hate
enough.
all this shit, man. They're so mad at anything.
Yeah, no, that's reasonable.
Yeah, some of them like everything too much.
Right.
I'm trying to find the sweet spot, but and this is finally me liking it enough to be excited about it, which is it's a nice change for me. I think I said a lot last episode.
I like this side of you.
Well, I mean, this show, I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week, but like this show really does have potential to kind of get at what people originally liked about Star Trek was that sort of this, procedural pretense of telling interesting like science fiction stories. And again, the animated format like gives them even more freedom with that. They don't have to worry about, injuring Patrick Stewart in a, crazy CGI stunt.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm still on board. I think this is showing its promise as like hey, here's the adventure of the week. Here's the zany like Star Trek tropes we can kind of either turn their head or play with, and yeah, I'm enjoying it still.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, I think we covered it all.
Yeah, Star Trek.
Yeah, there's nothing more to
Nope.
do with this.
I think we're done.
Oh, but are
everybody
we?
sign
Are
off.
we done? Oh no!
Everybody eat your vegetables.
Oh, I heard a faint whisper. Oh.
We don't. Oh, it opened and closed.
All
Open and
right,
closed.
I guess that closed it out. No,
Nothing
that
to
was
report this week.
that's the quickest status report
no.
yet.
We got just another brief one because
So what, have you watched 2 episodes of DS9 now, Glenn?
I've seen 6 episodes total of DS9 for your information, and so the only thing I'll talk about like relatively quickly is just my initial impressions of DS9. And Wade, I know you said the first season sucks and blah 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 whatever. I have liked the first couple.
There's one of the best episodes of Star Trek ever is in the first season, but
I will. So the most recent episode I saw was Babel, which I think I tweeted about this. I mistakenly said that this was someone had appreciated the Grant Morrison run of Justice League, but I was mistaken. It was actually the Mark Waid run of Justice League, where they do the Babel storyline, where Ra's al Ghul makes everyone on the planet not be able to understand each other in written or verbal communication.
I'm worried that this segment is too riveting.
tell me, did you like Babel?
I
as
did.
an
I did
episode?
like Babel as an episode.
Oh God, we hated Babel. Oh, clearly you haven't listened to the ROA. That was one of our least favorite episodes of the whole show. We hate Babel so much.
I mean, are you surprised that a Star Trek episode that basically lifts wholesale a Justice League plot is up my alley? Are you really shocked to hear that?
Okay, well, did it list a Justice League plot? Didn't we go over this? Didn't the Justice League plot you're talking about happen after the show aired?
You might be right about that. I'm fuzzy on the memory.
It's stealing every Star Trek that has like a infection.
That
plot
is
or
true. That is
whatever,
very
and
fair.
This one's an aphasia virus. And it does it bad. Well, hey, if you want to hear why I think it does things badly, go listen to the ROA, because I don't need to repeat that. Because
I mean, the Tower of Babel is a
Yes.
biblical story.
Yeah.
So nothing's they can't steal from each other. They're both stealing from like much older stories.
Oh, this episode they get a virus that makes them talk.
And to be fair, in the Justice League
Sure.
storyline, it is a radio signal broadcast worldwide. So there are, of course, differences. It's just the core concept of like the main character.
Not everything is stealing from the DC Comics.
Right, again, they're stealing from like old biblical stories
Sometimes there's only 6 stories
where God
or-
makes them all talk differently.
I'm not actually accusing anyone of stealing anything, especially not Mark Waid, who's a fantastic comics writer. He's like made some of the best DC in particular stories, but he also has a great Daredevil run and yada yada. So overall, my impression so far is Cisco is an interesting character. I can tell he's not as interesting as he's going to be. I feel like I've absorbed just from enough people that have watched Star Trek and I've heard talk about it that like he gets more interesting. But his story off the bat's like pretty compelling, especially having recently at the time watched The Best of Both Worlds, where you see the whole sequence of events that you find out where
Wolf
Cisco's
359
wife died, which
Picard killed his wife. Yeah, and all that. We don't have to go through every detail. Usually, I like to.
It is crazy that Wade. There's a podcast that Wade did about the Star Trek show that Wade is now talking about on his podcast about another Star Trek show.
Right. So just you don't have to tell me what happens with the characters or the audience. They can go listen to the podcast. But I am interested on the characters that you like and opinions that differ.
I like Cisco. Yeah. Quark, as we've already mentioned, Armin Shimmerman's fantastic. Dax is learning more about their take on the Trill is really interesting, because before I thought it was just the body's just
Trills are totally different.
Right,
in DS9,
yeah. In TNG they make it seem like it's just the body's just like a vessel and the parasite's the actual consciousness. Yeah. But yeah, DS9 has a much more interesting take where like no, they're both part of the equation. Like it's a true symbiosis, and that's actually a moment I knew I was going to like DS9 is when Dax and Cisco meet again for the first time on the show. And
yeah, that was good.
Like they did a really good job. Like these two characters have history, but like hearing him talk about Dax in the past tense as like this old man, and like really interesting concepts right off the bat. And yeah, I
pay attention to see how well they milk those concepts and how well the actors can handle what they're being asked to do. Or just listen to the ROA.
I'll do both. But super appreciating it so far. And just for posterity, my current updated percentage is 45.68% of the entirety of the Star Trek canon. And this includes Lower Decks now.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry that I'm just asking your opinions on DS9 just to set you up and yell at you for having the wrong opinions.
What a surprise.
That's a dick
Here's
move
the whistle.
I apologize.
It's exactly what this podcast is built on, Wade. Never stop.
Oh, yeah, right. You know what? You guys are talking. Let me do it again.
No, we heard it.
Everybody heard it.
Oh, they just started a new status report. Fuck, nope. Sorry, no.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Okay, well, I think we covered everything well enough for this episode. I guess that's it. We need a sign off or something.
I suggested we'll see you under the bridge, but that was rejected.
No, Glenn, that's heroin, man.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, join us
under the bridge where we'll suck your cock for heroin.
Too dark.
Next week.
Oh, and go listen to Sean's podcast if it's out yet.
Folsom Prison Tunes. As of right now, it's not out yet, but I don't know when this podcast is ever going to air.
Right.
So be on the lookout for it. It's if you like me shouting and you want to listen to it about country music, then that's the one for you.
All right. Glenn, you got anything?
No, just this podcast.
Just this, yeah.
I've listened to this podcast, and I guess listen to all the other Kickers podcasts, to Sean's podcast.
Yeah. Patreon.com/kickersofels if you want.
Yeah, if you want to hear Wade and Hugh and James slander one of the best high fantasy writers currently working.
Oh, yeah. One of the Blandersons, as I call him. I haven't read any of his stuff.
I was about to say, you're giving me shit for not watching more than one episode of Rick and Morty. You haven't read any of Brandon Sanderson's great works.
No, and I haven't finished Wheel of Time either, because I got...
And that's something to his credit. He saved the Wheel of Time. To be fair, Robert Jordan turned Wheel of Time around.
I would love to have one conversation with either of you that doesn't involve the Wheel of Time.
Hey, just wait till the Amazon show comes out. I'll be even worse then.
Oh, you have ones with me all the time, but not with the three of us.
I know. It's all Glenn. I'm gonna mute you when the Amazon show comes out, Glenn.
You're breaking my heart.
It's just what I gotta do.
Let's cut this off here before we talk all about the Aes Sedai and
Can't Picardly wait.
Can't Picardly wait to see what Moraine gets up to. It's a Wheel of Time reference, Sean.
Yeah, no, I think you got it.
But did you though?
Sometimes I feel like I just don't get Star Trek. Sometimes I feel like I'm bumming out weight. I don't know DS9, Nemesis TNG. Gene Cordero, Star Trek for the common man. Finally found my place. Hey, yeah. Self-contained adventures, stakes that are realistic. Different parts of the ship, and not just the bridge. There's maybe a romance, doesn't matter, who cares? Sci-fi adventures, no high concept schlock. I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day, hearing Glenn's status report. It drove me insane. I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. God, it just went on and on. I had no escape. Hey, yeah. Shut up, Glenn, please just shut up. Glenn, shut the fuck up, just stop talking. Star Trek Lower Deck.